You guys pumped up for the keynote address? Yes? Yes? Thank you. So please, with a big round of applause, coming on stage is the Vice President of Sales and Operations in India. Come on, some excitement? Yeah, Rajan Anandan, come on!
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me in the back? Okay, great. First of all, I'm absolutely excited to be here. There are times when you have to present to, make lots of presentations to lots of audiences. But the presentations I love the most are when I'm presenting to groups of, when the audience genuinely, in their lifetime, can change the world. And I believe, and I hope you believe, that over the next 20 or 30 years, you will change the world. Do you? See, most of you are between 18 and 21, 18 and 22, roughly, yeah, okay. Most of you, not me. I mean, that would be, you have to multiply that by a factor, right? And what I'm going to do over the next 20 minutes or so is talk about why the time that you're in, right, is absolutely the best time to be on Earth. And absolutely the best time to leverage technology to have a meaningful and amazing impact on the world. And if there's one thing at the end of 20 or 30 minutes I'd like you to take away from your association with Google is this is your time. And it's never been a better time to leverage the power of technology to have an amazing impact on the communities you live in the cities and societies you live in India, and on the world. Okay? So in that context, what I'm going to talk about is magic. We live in a magical time. And I know it's hard to say if you open the paper and you read the paper that we live in a magical time. Really? Actually, we do. And what I'll do is talk a little bit about why this is truly a magical time and why I'm hoping that over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, you will go out and create magic. So the first thing is, Sunil talked about this, and all of you know this. Today, the internet, including the mobile internet, has reached amazing scale, unprecedented level of scale. How many of you were born between the year 1990 and 1995? Raise your hands. There you go. Right? So when you were actually, before you went to kindergarten, right, 1995, you were probably all, not all by the way, apologies to those of you that are like me, or maybe, actually there's nobody like you, me, most of you are much younger than I am. 1995, there were only 40 million internet users in the world, okay? Of the 40 million, 25 million of them were in the United States of America. If you fast forward to 2013, the national capital region of India has 25 million internet users. Okay? That is the kind of scale the internet has reached in a very short span of less than 20 years. This image that you see is an image that depicts the growth of Android in different parts of the world. Sunil shared with you, right, the history of Android, how it went from being launched to now having 900 million active Android users in the world. This image, actually, the colors depict growth rates, okay? Blue is 50% or more year-on-year growth rate. Green is 100% year-on-year growth rate. Yellow is 150, and red is 200% year-on-year growth rate. Okay? These are very, very high growth rates. So what is amazing about the scale that we are at today is, even if you look at one product, right, which is Android, the smartphone operating system with 900 million active users around the world, look at the growth around the world. It's still growing at 50+% in the most evolved, most developed markets like the US. And then if you look at markets like India, the growth is 200+% year on year. Today, there are 2.3 billion, 2.4 billion internet users in the world. You know, over the last several years, I've kept wondering, why is it that over the last 5, 7, 8 years, we see companies getting launched, going from $0 to $1 billion of revenue in a few years, and going from not being around to having $50, $100, $200 billion of market value over a span of a decade. That was not possible, by the way. When I was your age and I was in college, that was not possible. That was not possible. Everything about business said that was not possible. You could not launch a company and go from a $0 to $1 billion revenue in 4 or 5 years, and you absolutely could not launch a company and go to $100 billion of market value in a decade. You just couldn't do that, right? You couldn't do that because you actually had to distribute product. If you were in the services industry, you had to build services outlets. If you were in the manufacturing industry, you had to make stuff. And to go global, you had to open offices, right? If you're in the product industry. What the internet has done is it has created a global marketplace of 2.3 billion people who are accessible with a click, with essentially a click. So today, if you have an awesome product, an awesome idea, you can actually reach 1 billion consumers for that product. And that is the scale that we have today. But that is actually now not why this is the most amazing time that we all live in. The reason this is the most amazing time that we live in is because over the next 5, 7, 8 years, the rest of the world will get connected. As Sunil mentioned, there are about 7 billion human beings on the planet. About 2.3 billion of them are connected. Imagine a world where 7 billion human beings are on the internet. That world is going to be here soon.
This, but the majority of the world is not connected to the internet. How do we get cost-effective, inexpensive, and reliable connectivity to the remaining 5 or 6 billion people in the world who don't have it?
Yeah, we could be up in an hour.
Project Loon is the idea that we could create a network of high-altitude balloons that float about 20 kilometers up, and through this network we can give the internet to the entire world. Our balloons are these great big round things, about 15 meters in diameter, but you'd have to have a telescope if you wanted to see one up in the sky. So here's the surface of the planet. From here, right up to about 10 kilometers, this is where rain happens, this is where mountains are, and pretty much all aircraft fly down here. Now, here's our little balloon up here. This is right around 20 kilometers. We're actually in the stratosphere. And the stratosphere is different because we tend to have layers of wind that go in very particular directions. And by moving up and down through these different layers, we can steer. So by catching the right wind, we can keep the balloons together enough to give good coverage on the ground. The balloons communicate with specialized internet antennas on the ground. So this antenna here points up at the sky and talks to this balloon. And each one of these balloons talks to their neighboring balloons and then back down to the ground station, which is connected to the local internet provider. What this does is it creates a network in the sky.
Okay, we're gonna be off the ground in a couple minutes.
Before we send them up, we talk to air traffic control. We let them know these balloons are on the way up so they know where they are. And before they come down, we also talk to air traffic control.
And they're on a different one now.
We can direct them to land in various collection points around the world in order to reuse and recycle their parts.
You know, isn't it an amazing time that we live in where the internet is about to be delivered to you from the sky? 18 to 20 kilometers up, high pressure helium balloons delivering internet to the most rural parts of the world at a fraction, and I mean a fraction of the cost that it takes a traditional telecommunications provider to get. So if there's anything at all that you should be excited about, is the fact that before most of you turn 30 years old, the entire world will be on the internet. I think that is absolutely super cool. So now I want to talk about, how many of you recognize this picture? None of you were actually, but how many of you actually saw this movie? Amazing, amazing, right? This is Star Trek. Star Wars, Star Trek, the USS Enterprise, right? So I actually grew up on this, and that sort of probably gives you a sense of how old I am. Only 3 of you have actually seen this. This was when we saw and said, wow, wouldn't that be really amazing? Wouldn't that be super cool? Everything that was actually in that movie is available today. The only thing that was available, that was shown in that movie, that's not available today, there are a few others, but the major thing, the only one that hasn't been cracked yet is something called teleport. I press a button and I show up in Goa. I still have to take a plane and a car to get here. Just about everything else actually has been solved. I thought all of you have seen this video, but I love watching this video because when I see this video, I think about how much change we have seen over a very short period of 10 years.
Meet me in front of Strand Books at 2. Oh man, really? Hey there, guy. Hey there, little guy. Sweet. Remind me to buy tickets for Monsieur Gano tonight. Where's the music section? Oh, yes, this is it. Is Paul here yet? Huh. Hey, dude, how's it going?
Want to go check out that new place I was telling you about?
Sure.
This truck's really good.
Hey, just a second. Cool.
Good to see you again.
Thanks, man.
Just got a new place in Offset City.
See you, dude. Whoa, cool. Take a photo of this. Share it to my circles. Oh, I'm running late. Music, stop.
Hi, what's up?
Hey,
Hey.
you want to say something cool?
Yeah, sure. Is that a ukulele?
Yep. Okay, here goes.
That's beautiful.
Now I want you to imagine that every little part of your body, your shirt, your shoes, your hat, your little badge, is connected. And that is called wearable computing. And Google Glass is one of many products that has kicked off this revolution around wearable computing. Now I want you to imagine 7 billion people around the world connected with just about everything, on them, around them, near them, away from them, and what that would do to the world. And that is the world that we're not just going to, that's the world that we're already in. Now I'm actually going to talk about 3 or 4 major trends. You're all aware of these trends, but these are trends that are very, very important, because whether you're in school, whether you're in a business group, whether you're in a developer group, these are the trends that matter most to you, right? Because if you're a developer, these are the trends that you should, I'm hoping you're all leveraging upon to build awesome products, awesome web services, awesome mobile services. If you're in a business group, these are the trends that you can leverage to dramatically improve the performance of your business. And if you're a student, this should be your future, right? I remember when I graduated from MIT, that was many, many years ago, I really wanted to work for Ford. Because Ford made cars and cars were cool, right? I hope none of you want to work for a car company, right? Because cars still have to kind of drive along the road. You can transport yourself to just about any place on Earth. So mobile matters. All of you, I think, know the stats around mobile. We've talked about Android. What's really amazing about mobile, and I hope all of you realize this, is, by the way, when I was your age, there were no computers where I grew up. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a mobile phone, right? And actually, it's only when I went to college that I actually started working on these massive computers. What you all have today is you have a computer in your pocket. And it is getting smarter by the day. And soon, it will not only do what you tell it to do, it will actually tell you what you should be doing, right? That is what your phone will start telling you to do. How many of you got a wake-up call at 6:30 today, right? That's like really old technology, right? Why does somebody have to call you? Your phone should have figured out you're always late for your meetings. You guys never, you never show up. You generally show up about half an hour late, right? Because the phone knows exactly where your meetings are, it's on your calendar, etc., etc. And your phone should have actually kept waking you up from 6:15 until 7:15, right? And then it should have called one of your friends to call you. Because your phone knows you're always late. The first version of this we launched about a year ago. All of you know about it. But I love this video again, right? Some of these videos I'm going to show you, some of you have seen. But this is what is really, really cool. And this is just where mobile was 6 months ago.
It's gonna snow today! Snow!
What do you think?
I don't know, I can ask.
C'est en fruits ou en légumes?
It's a fish.
Dad, guess what? It's snowing!
It's just the beginning, right? Now you can imagine what's going to happen over the next several years. Your phone will actually tell you what you should be doing. Now when I land in San Francisco, where I go a lot, My phone tells me, my Nexus tells me, hey, you know what? These are the restaurants. I like Italian restaurants. Here are all the Italian restaurants around where you are. If I go to a certain part of California, it'll tell me who my friends are who live around there, right? So again, mobile is not only here in large, large numbers, but it's taken on a form of utility that none of us would have ever imagined. You know, the other interesting trend, and this is especially relevant for India, is e-commerce. You know, how many of you have bought something from either Flipkart or Snapdeal or Fashion & You or Jabong? Right, there you go. That's good. So here's an interesting statistic. How many of you know Tata Chroma? Okay, good. Tata Chroma is the largest electronics offline retailer in India. 70 stores, been in business for over 10 years. At the beginning of this year, Flipkart, which is a company that's only 3.5 years old, shipped more electronics units per day than Tata Chroma. Yeah. Whoa. Right? See, India doesn't have organized retail, right? Tata Chroma only has 70 stores. Reliance Digital has similar number of stores. India, for various sets of reasons, never really got very large-scale organized retail, right? If you're not in the top 30 cities, there is no large retailer you can go to buy product. What is happening in India is that e-commerce is becoming the first way in which Indians outside of the top 10, top 20 cities are buying brands. Because otherwise you went to that little electronic shop, the Nokia shop or the Samsung shop, right? If you're in city number 50 or 55 or 60 in India, you cannot buy Nike shoes. You just cannot. And guess what? A lot of people now can afford to. Or you can't buy Puma. You can't buy those books. There are no bookshops. E-commerce is going to be massive in India. Last year, all e-commerce companies in India put together did 60,000 crores of revenue. You guys know what a crore is? It's a lot, right? 60,000 crores. By the year 2017, that number will be 200,000 crores. So, you know, e-commerce is going to be very, very large. And this is very important, especially for Google business groups, right? Because you all work with businesses around how to leverage technology. If you're selling anything to anyone, and by the way, most businesses do. That's why they're in business, right? You have to sell something to somebody. You've got to be on e-commerce, and you've got to be on e-commerce in a very big way. If you're actually in the Google developer group, you should be thinking about tools you can build to make e-commerce businesses more successful, because this is going to be a very, very large industry. And if you're a student looking for what you might do when you graduate or while you're in school, you should be thinking about e-commerce, because this is going to be huge. The next big trend is really online video. India has 1.2 billion people. Only 500 million of us watch television. Do you guys know this? Only 500 million people watch TV. Now, all of you watch TV because you're all very privileged. Most of India is media dark. They don't read newspapers. They don't watch television. Here's a really amazing thought. The first time most of India will actually enter the world of media is through the internet. Specifically, it is through the world of the mobile internet. The first time most Indians, outside this 500 million Indians, will be able to watch their TV is going to be online video. And why is that? The reason is because the phone is the first personal device all of us have had. When I was growing up, there's this big battle between my mom, my dad, my brother, my set of cousins who are visiting. What show should we watch? Should we watch cricket? Should we watch soccer? Should we watch some TV show? Should we watch a movie? No more debates. Why? Because that device that's in your hand, watch whatever you want. And not only can you watch whatever you want, you can share, you can take videos, you can upload, right? So the amazing thing about online video, especially in a country like India, much like e-commerce, is going to be massive, and in India will be bigger than organized retail, not all retail, organized retail. There is a very high likelihood that before many of you turn 30, that online video will be bigger than TV. And that is a really, really big deal. The other interesting thing about the internet is that you can measure everything. And this is really, really important, right? Because everything that you do on the internet is measurable. And I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but for instance, TV, right? Lots of, all of you that watch TV have seen this. You watch TV and there's about 20 minutes worth of ads, right? Indian advertisers spend $3 billion, about 18,000 crores on advertising on TV because they want to reach these 500 million people who are watching TV. And there are ways in which that they measure impact. You know, the amazing thing about digital, and even if you look at one aspect of digital, is online video. With online video, every advertiser knows how many people exactly watch my ad. And now, with a product like TrueView, where the user gets to decide whether we want to watch an ad or not only do you know how many people actually watch your ad because it's measurable, you actually want to know, how many people wanted to watch your ad. How many of you like watching ads? Amazing, right? This is the generation. This is the generation. You only want to watch the ads you want to watch. If you're watching a cricket match, you don't want to see an ad for a shampoo. It's just not relevant. It just ain't relevant, right? So everything is measurable. You know, the other interesting thing about